Hi, welcome to LSB Feasters Radio Channel, where we keep great radio from the past alive. It is 12:30 in the morning, January 1st, 2026, New Year's Day. I'm just up because I was listening to a radio station sign off the air. Sadly, this is happening more and more today with AM stations that are struggling to survive. For decades, WNAM has been a familiar and trusted voice in northeastern Wisconsin radio. Broadcasting from Appleton, the station has built its reputation as one of the region's heritage outlets. From its early years serving the Fox Valley with music, local programming, and community information, to later becoming a destination for news, talk, and sports, WNAM remained closely tied with the listeners it served. Sadly, on December 31st, 2025, that long chapter came to a close, and this Aircheck captures the final minutes of WNAM, including the station's historic sign-off, an emotional moment marking the end of an era on AM radio. I got to thank my friend Scott Brown, who actually recorded this audio just a little while ago. So we'll play it for you now. It's the end of an era, the sign-off of WNAM, Appleton, Wisconsin.
WNAM Neenah-Menasha, a Cumulus media station. Your smart speaker loves to play our music. Ask Alexa to play WNAM.
ABC News, I'm Mike Zabowski. Most of the world is now in 2026.
WNAM Golden.
The history, the music, and most importantly, the memories. We say goodbye to Northeast Wisconsin on New Year's Eve. Thank you for listening to 1280 WNAM.
Hey, it's Steve Edwards, current program director of WNAM. I am happy to have been the custodian of this great radio station since 2021. But I have been behind the scenes with this station since the fall of 1998. One of the most well-known radio voices from the history of WNAM and from Northeast Wisconsin. And I can say that because even though you've been away for what seems like forever, your voice is unmistakable. Ron Ross joining us today to talk about WNAM. Ron, thank you so much for spending time.
Well, Steve, it's been nice being with you.
I kind of set this up like a WOSH interview, but I'm afraid it's going to turn into an Aircheck session. Is that wittiness, is that ingrained in you, or is that just show prep?
My dad was very, very silly.
Is that what shaped you? Is that what shaped your interest in radio?
No, actually, I got interested in radio as a kid, listening to stations from far away on my radio, and eventually, at the age of 13, I became a ham radio operator and got comfortable in front of a microphone doing that, I guess.
Ron, when you first heard the news of WNAM's being shut down, what came to your mind?
Well, you don't want to know, Steve.
Yeah. I can only imagine, yeah.
No, actually, it's just typical of what's happening to AM radio across the country. It seems that AM radio is not embraced anymore by a large part of the population. A lot of the young people don't even know there's an AM button on their radio, I don't think. And it's become harder and harder for corporations to make money with AM radio. And in turn, it's been kind of a chain reaction. They don't make the investment in programming in many cases anymore, and therefore it doesn't generate the ratings, which generates the revenue. So it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. And let's face it, FM radio is more popular than AM radio. Yeah. And these days with social media, there are many, many other places to find your entertainment and information.
Ron Ross joins us today on WOSH and WNAM as we speak about the final days of the radio station. You know, it's true that even some car companies, they're threatening, and some have even, removed the AM option on car radios. So that makes it even more difficult.
Well, it's really sad because I know that the organization of AM station owners has been lobbying to keep the AM in the car. And, of course, let's face it, AM radio is great for talk programming. It's great for sports. There are many Hispanic broadcasters around the country that use AM radio, business radio, all kinds of things. But unfortunately, it's a trend. And, of course, with satellite radio, as well as all the Internet access to information, there are just so many other options that seem to be on the table before AM radio. It used to be back in, well, let me give you an example. WNAM is 78 years old. And when I first came to WNAM, it was only 26 years old. It came on the air in 1947. I came there in 1973, and it was only 26 years old at the time. So if you do the math, that means I'm very old, Steve.
You're just hitting your stride, Ron. We're speaking with Ron Ross, former morning show host, former afternoon. You've been around the dial in Northeast Wisconsin, but you started at WNAM, like you mentioned, in 1973. At that time, it was a top 40 radio station. What made radio special in that era with that music and on that dial?
Well, it was interesting. I was offered a couple of different jobs at the time I came to WNAM, one down in Madison and the one in Neenah at WNAM, and I was intrigued by Northeast Wisconsin. I'd never been there before, and yet this marketplace, the Appleton-Oshkosh Green Bay market, had 5 top 40 radio stations. WOSH in Oshkosh was top 40, WYNE Appleton, WKAUPZ in Green Bay, and of course WNAM at the time was known as the Proven Hit Giant. It had just gone top 40 shortly before I got there. So I was attracted by not only the beauty of Northeast Wisconsin, but also the competitive nature of the marketplace. And what made top 40 radio special at that time was just the fact that it was the era of personality radio. The music was great for the most part. There's always clunkers along the way, no matter what era you're talking about. But it also was just a fun time to be on the radio because personalities drove the air sound on good stations. There were station jingles, there were crazy promotions, there was all kinds of stuff. So when I arrived at WNAM, I had just driven in from Tucson, Arizona. I dropped my wife and our 2-year-old son off in Illinois at her mother's house, drove up to Neenah, the door with my shoulder-length hair and my ratty rock and roll T-shirt, and got a look from the receptionist. Her name was Donna, as I recall, and Donna Haldeman, and she looked at me and said, "Oh, you're the new guy." And I can't say that she seemed enthusiastic at first, but I think I grew on her after a while.
The station was top 40 at the time, and eventually you became, according to Billboard, one of the country's top 5 top 40 personalities for the market in this size. Do you know how that happened? It was the era of personality radio, but how did that happen? What made that occur for you?
Well, basically it was a competition that Billboard magazine had, and at that point, let's see, I'd been in radio for, I think it was about 6 years at that point. What you had to do to compete in this competition was obviously send them a tape of your show, and I guess I hammed it up sufficiently. They had a judging panel of program directors from around the country, and anyway, I made the top 5 markets of 1 million people and under. So it wasn't the biggest of the big, but it was a nice honor for me, and I always appreciated that. And I kept sort of competing in that way throughout the years. Down here in the state of Illinois, in 2008 and 2009, I was the Small Market Personality of the Year. And again, not the biggest competition, but it was still something that I was interested in doing. And of course, it was an honor, and it got me some job offers, but I ended up staying in Northeast Wisconsin for a long, long time.
128 WNAM.
Speaking with Ron Ross, a former personality, radio personality in Northeast Wisconsin, WNAM, WVBO, and others here. For a time, WNAM, believe it or not, as an AM radio station in the late 1970s, it reached a 17 share from Arbitron. But that's radio speak. That station was number one. And that is just incredible to think back on it, but it was a completely different time.
Well, it was, but it took a lot of hard work, and it took the new format that we put on the air called Blue 128. When I first got to WNAM, as I mentioned, it was the proven hit giant. Dave Moore was the program director, and Bud Beeston was the general manager. And I came in strictly as afternoon personality at that time. Shortly thereafter, the manager left. Dave Moore became manager. He made me program director. Then we got another guy involved, and his name was Perry Murphy. And, of course, later on in time, he became the general manager there as well. Perry was instrumental in helping all of us get to those ratings because he helped introduce this format to me called Blue 128, which I can talk about. And at any rate, the station started out back in the 40s and 50s as a middle-of-the-road station and community involved and so forth. Then in the early 70s became the proven hit giant. But we wanted to get to the next level, and we decided to try this new format. And Blue 128 is because people to this day still say, hey, I remember that station. It was Blue 128, but I never had any idea why you called it that, other than the 128 had to do with the 1280 on the dial.
It's very true. We run into people. Blue 128. In fact, if you look at the postings on social media from the Neenah Historical Society and other radio groups, they speak about, they don't refer to it as WNAM. They first refer to it as Blue 128.
Well, to this day, a lot of people have questions about a lot of things. First of all, you'd be surprised how many people don't even realize that WNAM was set up to mean Neenah-Menasha. And, of course, we wanted to compete in more than just Neenah-Menasha. We wanted to be a station that people liked all the way from Oshkosh to Green Bay, if possible, because the signal that we had listeners all over Northeast Wisconsin. And we also, I want to mention that we had a great engineer. His name was Gordon Daly, and he kept that old AM transmitter going because, the equipment we had in those days had a tendency to break down quite a bit. And when you're live and going at it 24 hours a day, it gets a lot of use. But anyway, to tell the story of Blue 128 in as short a nutshell as I can, it really was the coming together of three guys from Iowa. Dave Moore, who I mentioned, who was from Iowa. Actually, he was from the same hometown in Iowa where I was born, a town called Carroll, Iowa. So that was something that I never even knew about until after Dave had passed away. At any rate, there was Dave Moore. I'm from Iowa originally, and Perry Murphy was from Iowa originally, the Sioux City area. But somehow we all came together at the same time. Perry kind of came in to consult at the time to basically help me launch the Blue 128 format. And the Blue 128 format was a little different approach to Top 40 radio, and it was set up, built on this multi-layered concept that we had. That was a careful, controlled balance of tempo rotation of the music. We also labeled each song by its emotional content, happy, sad, somewhere in between. A careful balance in the music we presented of male vocals, female vocals, group vocals, instrumentals, and so forth. And also a careful rotation of various top 40 music categories, rock music, soft rock, pop, adult, so forth. And then within each of those genres, we also carefully balanced the content of the song, the intensity of the songs. It was a fairly complicated thing, but through labeling each and every 45 RPM record carefully, we came up with each record being categorized about 5 different ways. Mm-hmm. We set up music clocks that told the disc jockeys which categories to pull the song. And as it turned out, it gave us a format that presented music in a way that people just enjoyed. They had no idea that all of this thought was going into the selection of the songs we played, but it was the way we mixed the music, the way we presented the music with the personalities. And I do want to mention some of the guys that were on the air over the years when I get a chance. But it all had to do with the promotions, the jingles, the music, and the personalities. And in that competitive environment with 4 other stations to compete with, we had to try to do it better. And that's what the ratings proved, that we did do it better, at least for a while.
And this was all brain power. This was not computerized. This is everything. This is everything how you thought it needed to be. This was not AI at all.
No. We didn't know. We knew that computers existed, but it had not entered the radio arena at all at that time. Nothing was computerized in the 70s, at least. The only thing that was computerized in the radio station, that was the early days of this, was the billing on the radio station, the money flow in and out of the radio station through the sales department. But the on-air programming was all hand-created, hand-drawn music clocks that I created with input from Perry and Dave, and so everything was hand-labeled with little stickers, and like I say, we were still playing 45 RPM records, and after you play a hit song, 100 times, chances are we had to replace it 4 or 5 times because it would get what we call cue burn at the beginning of each record because they weren't perfect. It was anything but automated, let's put it that way.
The greatest hits of all time, WNAM.
Speaking with Ron Ross, a radio personality from Northeast Wisconsin, famous time here, great, well-known voice. I'm happy to have you here. You wanted to mention other names, and let me just first say that we are creating what amounts to be at least, with this interview it's probably going to be longer, but at least a 3-hour kind of retrospective, and what I like to see, kind of a recreation of those Blue 128 days. We have found historic air checks, we've mixed in the music, we have old commercials, and familiar messages from voices that you have heard on WNAM, including, might I say, some air checks of your own, Ron. Thankfully, you spit the words out properly and tell the jokes properly as well. You're all included in this.
Well, that's good to know. I do want to mention some of the great guys that worked for us over the years that made the station special, and I think that a lot of listeners, at least the older ones, will remember a lot of these names. We started out the broadcast day with Jason Page for a long time. His real name is Ron Page. He may still live in the area, as a matter of fact. We had a guy named Jack Randall in the afternoon. Jack later went on to work at Little Rock, Arkansas. Jeff Law was there all night. These were the days where we had live disc jockeys 24/7, and it certainly isn't that way anymore. We had a night jock named Chris Lane. I had a guy from Evansville, Indiana, named Steve O'Brien. I think you may have a tape of him.
Yep.
And he also became a professional wrestler, which is kind of interesting. I had a guy from Norfolk, Virginia, named Steve McFarland. Jay Tyler, who went on to bigger and better things in Madison and I believe Minneapolis. Steve Otis. Don Geronimo, who later went on to work in a lot of places, including Los Angeles and I believe New York for a time. Jefferson Kung Fu Keys, who I hired out of Georgia, and a hit record called Kung Fu Fighting. Jefferson also liked to do Kung Fu, so that was his on-air name. Another gentleman from the area named Tom Siskey, his name on the air was Tommy Hot Buttered Howard, and we stole him away from WOSH, by the way. Big Al Kelly from Minneapolis, and so many more, including Wolfman Jack.
Yeah.
And Wolfman Jack was on the station in an early form of syndicated radio. He was on tape, but people circled the radio station on Saturday night when Wolfman Jack was on the air because they actually thought he was there. That's how real it sounded.
You mentioned those names, Al Kelly, Don Geronimo, Wolfman. I have tapes of all those. They're all going to be a part, and we did hear back from Gordon Daly as well. He still lives in the area. I believe he's in Neenah. and he sends his well wishes for the radio station as well. These names still exist. They're still around. Good radio never goes away, Ron.
Well, that is true, and I'm really glad to hear that Gordon's there, because if I'm old, that means Gordy's even older than I am. So I'm glad that he's still alive and kicking. And again, kudos to Gordon Daly, because in those days especially, it took a lot to keep those AM transmitters on the air through storms and everything else. It took a lot of maintenance of the equipment we had in those days, and Gordy was always there with a smile to keep it going.
Speaking with Ron Ross, he's been in and out of Northeast Wisconsin a number of times, hired back for WNAM quite a few times. I think 3 times he came back. But the glory years were in the late 1970s. I came along. You hired me, Ron, in November of 1998. That was 27 years ago you hired me. It was the fall of my freshman year at UW-Oshkosh, and you must have needed some grunt work. That's why you gave me a chance.
Well, you had a lot of potential then, and obviously you've been doing a great job ever since, because actually the last time you and I spoke was about 22 years ago, when I left for a job in Illinois, and you were there at WVBO.
That's right. We wanted you back for a time. The time that I was with WNAM in the late 90s and early... Well, and up to now, but early 2000s is we had the Green Bay Packers broadcasts on that radio station. You had me doing the board opping for that broadcast. At that time we were at the old Neenah Pick and Save building on Commercial Street, and I had to climb the top of that building several times to clean snow off the satellite dishes. Those jobs are like standard for overnight or nighttime DJs, I think.
Well, plus you seemed young and healthy, Steve, and we figured, you could probably handle it.
Thankfully, the shovel was already on the roof of that thing. But there is so many great memories, like you mentioned. Even after the time that you left this area, we had the Jerry Schneider Polka Band. It was a 2-hour broadcast on Sunday mornings, and we had the opportunity to have his band at the Appleton American Legion building for a fundraising event. And even at that time, in the early 2000s, the crowd came out. Yes, there was an older side of that listenership, and there still is, but it was almost a fanatic love of WNAM and the history of that station.
Well, that and the fact that people in Wisconsin like to have a good time. Exactly. And, that was one of the things that my wife and I always liked about Northeast Wisconsin. When we got there, we found out that people, they just enjoyed living. There's a lot of places that we've lived around the country where people didn't seem to experience the joy of just living day to day. Mm-hmm. And, of course, in beautiful Northeast Wisconsin, it was just a great place to be and a great place to raise our kids. But I was there 3 different times. I was there in 73 to 77. Then I was approached by a station in Boston. I went out there and was on the air for less than a year, and they sold that station. And so about that same time, Perry Murphy, who was manager at WNAM at the time, offered me my job back at WNAM, so I came back. And then I left to go to WKAU, had a lot of fun there and good years. But they came back again in the mid-'90s when WNAM was back to playing Frank Sinatra and Perry Como. And I had a good time doing that, too.
Your final stop out there was in Bloomington, Illinois, WJBC. They have a long list of great personalities. You're right there in the middle of it all. Ron, does the radio bug ever leave?
No, it doesn't. I still listen to the radio. I'm still a ham radio operator after 62 years. And if I were able to, I would still be on the radio somewhere. But because the technology changed so much, there are very few jobs available these days with a chance to do live radio because of so much syndication, automation, satellite feeds, and so forth. And it used to be in my earlier years in the business, we always knew we could find a job somewhere. They always needed an all-night DJ somewhere. They always needed a morning DJ somewhere. So jobs were kind of easy to come by if you had anything on the ball at all, but it's not. And of course, I got old, and radio doesn't like old people, I guess.
I don't know about that. Ron, I want to, first of all, I want to say thank you for giving me a chance so many years ago. And you're right. I mean, this thing called radio, this bug, it gets inside of you. And even the people that have left the stations, they come back, they're still friends of mine. And they're always like, is there an opportunity? Is there a chance? And I thank my lucky stars every day that the key card still opens the door and allows me to get into my office. I finally moved out of the basement. They gave me an office. It has no windows, but I'm still here at the radio station, and I'm happy to be a part of it. But, Ron, thank you so much for your time here, for the glory years of WNAM, and for speaking about it as we come to the finale of this radio station at the end of New Year's Eve.
Well, and I thank you for having me on today, Steve. It is a sad time for people like me because we hate to see a radio station with a long history. I mean, that station had a lot of history before I ever got there, and a lot of great people came through that station, and the people loved it long before I got there. There were, and I'll wrap this up, but they had high school basketball and football on the air, great listenership. But then when the Top 40 era came in, the station really took off, and we had a lot of fun, and we'll always remember those good times in the people of Northeast Wisconsin.
WNAM personality and voice from Northeast Wisconsin, Ron Ross, joining us today on WOSH. Ron, thank you so much, and we wish you well.
Okay, thank you, Steve, and good luck in the future.
Sit back and enjoy the timeless classics. 1280 WNAM, Neenah-Menasha, Fox Cities, a Cumulus media station. It's hard to believe that 1280 WNAM first took to the airwaves 78 years ago. Since that day, we've had the privilege of being a trusted voice in your homes, cars, and workplaces. From timeless music and unforgettable personalities to vital storm coverage and community connection, WNAM has been more than just a radio station. It's been a part of the fabric of our lives. After careful consideration, we must share that WNAM will cease broadcasting on New Year's Eve, Wednesday, December 31st, 2025. This difficult decision comes in response to evolving listener habits and economic realities that have reshaped the media landscape. To our listeners and advertisers, thank you. Your unwavering support over the past 78 years has meant everything to us. You made WNAM a part of your daily routine, and for that, we are deeply grateful. Please continue to tune in as we honor our final days on the air. From all of us at 1280 WNAM, thank you for listening.
WNAM, Neenah-Menasha, 128. WNAM, hit bound. Dynamite! Do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight, 'cause I live to be freedom. Love will keep us together. WNAM. WNAM.
I am music and I write the songs.
Ron Ross.
WNAM Dan Hartman Instant Replay at 10:25. I am Ron Ross, Suburban Robot, here to entertain corporate life forms.
Well, I'm glad, proud, and happy for you.
That is Chicago alive again from hot streets. It's 9:55 here on the Ron Ross Show at Blue 128. Happens this weekend. The first of the Blue 128 Superstar Weekends of 1979. The Styx Weekend.
I just gotta know.
Styx, the Midwest superstars that the Fox River Valley has helped make one of the biggest groups in the country. The Styx Superstar Weekend. This weekend, only on Blue 128.
The music people. W.
quick reminder, the Wisconsin Lung Association is sponsoring a clinic to help you stop smoking. The clinics will be held at Theta Clark Medical Center, and that's going to be on January 16th, 18th, 23rd, 25th, and 30th. Call 725-4311.
I'll tell you what, Fox Cities radio was amazing and full of talented personalities back in the 70s. I was known as Mike O'Brien back then, although it was only a short time at WNAM. I learned a lot there, and I had a chance to work with some great talent like Jack Randall, Jason Page, Bill Day, Chris Lane, Tommy Hot Buttered Howard, Jay Tyler, Jerry Van, and of course, the nearly world-famous Captain Ron. It was a great time in radio airwaves history. So I know a lot of good folks are already missing you big time, WNAM. I was just thinking the other day, when you first went on the air, WNAM was playing 78 RPM records, and now you are 78. 78 years of legendary radio. Thank you so much for every last electromagnetic fluctuation that you sent through our collective hearts and minds and airwaves. And WNAM had been our slice of true Fox Cities life, with a soul that was even greater than those hulking towers that you broadcast from. Thank you, WNAM. Thank you endlessly.
Good morning, Ron Ross at 10:41. On this date back in 1925, the American Association for the Advancement of Atheism was formed in New York City. This is their anniversary. And this made it possible for the very first time for people to belong to the AAAA. That's right. That's a drunk atheist who joins the Auto Club.
Okay, smart Alec, you tell him about it.
Hi, this is Tommy Hot Buttered Howard. Hey, WNAM. Thanks for 78 spectacular years of broadcasting and sharing a couple of them with me. It was a great time. I had a wonderful time. The crew had a wonderful time. And I'm still having a wonderful time.
Well, I am in Peter McCann. It's 11:03. And do you want to make love? Are you kidding? Does Barbara Streisand have a nose? Does the phone company have enemies? Does Johnny Carson take vacation? You'll have to excuse me. Sometimes I get so excited.
Hard to believe, but it was 50 years ago that I first got the chance to hear WNAM, the one and only Blue 128. I love that station. I heard Captain Ron and, of course, my buddy Michael J. O'Brien. This is Jim O'Hara from KSTT in Davenport, the Quad Cities music station way back in the 70s. Speaking for everybody from Appleton, that was my wife's hometown, and all of the Fox Valley, so long, WNAM. We're gonna miss you.
Thank you for 78 unforgettable years. WNAM says goodbye to Northeast Wisconsin at the end of 2025.
WNAM Hall & Oates, and she was such a rich girl. How rich was she, Ron? She was so rich that when she was a little girl, she had a telephone and private bar installed on her skateboard.
I've been in love with your voice for such a long time.
Is that right?
And now that I see you...
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hey, come on!
Hello, WNAM listeners. This is Chris Maring of the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. Since 2009, the Timber Rattlers have been on WNAM AM 1280. You have heard great plays, championships, amazing playoff runs, and future major leaguers. Thank you for letting us be a part of you listening to WNAM.
And he drives it right field and deep, and welcome to Slamtown Headnight!
WNAM, that's Barry Manilow, Daybreak Around the World. It's 123 with Ron Ross. Today at 145, Chris Martin, Ace Valley DJ and former cheerleader for UWO's golf team. He used to lead the crowd going, shh, quiet. Did I mention that our receptionist, Arlene, looks exceptionally nice today? That's right. She's wearing her new Star Wars pantyhose. Have you seen those? They have little pictures of Darth Vader on her kneecaps. It's really, really nice. Oh, here she comes now. Shh, shh.
I understand you'll give me $50 if I say something nice about your show.
Well, okay.
Okay?
Uh-huh. Right. Oh, go ahead.
Let's see.
Come on, Arlene. Come on.
Darn it.
Hey, wait a minute. Where you going? WNAM, darling, we've got tonight. I want you to stay. We'll get out the Vegematic, the Ronco record cleaner, the Seal-A-Meal. We'll turn them all on until our batteries run down. WNAM with the Ritchie family and Brazil. It's about 10:09. Okay, everybody, all right now, Tom. You can wind down now. That's about enough now.
That's better, class.
Yes, your valley weather today, mostly sunny. High today about 13. That's the good news. Now the bad news, tonight fair and very cold. Low about 15 below zero. Tomorrow increasingly cloudy, a chance of snow towards evening, and a high of about 5 above. Well, it's about 4 above now. We've got sunny skies at Blue 128.
One, two, three, four, one.
WNAM, Neenah-Menasha, WNAM.
Well, I guess we've come to the end of an era here. This is Skip Willis. I was happy to be able to be a part of the WNAM legacy for a little while, and I had the best time. I tell you, the listeners in the Fox Valley and the Oshkosh area were the greatest. And I'd worked on a lot of different radio stations, but this was the end of my career, and I was very lucky to get to do a little time on WNAM. We had more fun with Guy at the front desk security, and Willard was my producer. And I can remember people coming in. I'd always talk to Willard, and he was a made-up guy in my mind, but we brought him to life, and people would come to the station and actually try to find Willard and ask me if he was working, or when I'd be out, they'd say, is Willard here? And they were always looking for Willard or Guy. Had a great time. And then the anniversary club, I don't know how many anniversaries I wished on the air to people. It was just a wonderful, kind of a warm feeling to be a part of what WNAM meant to that area of the state of Wisconsin. We did a lot of different things. We did bus trips with many listeners. A few, I think, we even went on a couple of cruises with WNAM listeners. Had almost a whole lifetime of memories in a short period of time on what was a wonderful radio station to work for, a great group of people to work with. Couldn't have done it without the staff that was around us there at the time at WNAM. It's sad to see it go, and I know it's just a sign of the times, and it's things that are happening in radio corporations now. But this signal and WNAM will be missed, but it'll be in my heart forever, and I appreciate all of those of you out there who took the time to spend a little time with us every morning on WNAM. I really appreciate it, and thank you all for listening. So this is Skip Willis signing off right now for the last time on 1280 WNAM.
WNAM, Golden.
Got this thing figured out here. This hour on Superstar Sweepstakes Phase 2, I've got the new Frank Zappa LP, Old and Heavy Gold, or a Super 8 transistor radio. Your chance to win coming this hour.
We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun. Don't be a hero, don't be a fool with your life.
WNAM at exactly 1:13. This is Big Al Kelly with the request line at 729-1345. Toll-free Oshkosh at 233-3113. WNAM is backfield in motion. That's Mel and Tim at 331. And I am Big Al Kelly with an LP by Spirit, an LP by Jesse Colin Young, or an LP by Genesis. If you'd like to play Superstar Sweepstakes, call me now, 729-1345. Finally had a hammer. Thanks so much. much noise with it, I'd wake up the whole world. But that'd be great. They could hear my show for a change. WNAM at 3:34. This is Big Al Kelly, ready to play Superstar Sweepstakes in moments. Fox City's weather is fair and warmer today. Supposed to get to a high around 58. Right now, 32.
WNAM.
Over $5,000 given away on the money wheel. 269 winners on the Mystery Lyric Contest. 275 winners on the Fantastic Phone Booth Contest. And now, The Voices of Rock, Part 3 of the Great Radio Trilogy. Another chance to win in minutes. It's our way of saying thanks for listening to Blue 128, music and much more.
Hello again, everybody. This is Damon Ryan, 2020 Sports. The 1974-75 high school basketball season gets underway Tuesday night, November 19th, as St. Mary's Basketball Zephyrs host Warsaw. Join Chip Manthe and myself for all the exciting action of high school basketball, brought to you throughout the season by the Good Sportsmanship Club Boosters on Blue 128.
The Blue 128 Voice of Rock.
Hanging around Hollywood, all of us were independent musicians, folk singers, basically.
Now, you stand by. Within minutes, I'm going to take a call to identify that Blue 128 Voice of Rock. And this hour's prize, once again, is a hit LP. And the Voice of Rock from Blue 128.
WNAM. They're out there having fun. Been at one California sun.
Oh, yeah. Like that song back in 1964. With the Riviera, Arizona, California sun. The 1025 with Stephen O'Brien in the 3 degrees. Just wishing you were here. When will I see you again? From Blue 128 WNAM. Far away, and we left each other on kind of bad notes. But now I realize my love is strong, and when will I see you again? Like that song from the 3 degrees. 1028. This is Stephen O'Brien, and right now, I will take caller number 15 to play the Voice of the Rock contest. You call me at 729-1345, 231-1345 in Oshkosh, 336-1345 in Green Bay to Pier. Caller number, what did I say, 18? Well, we'll say 18 now. Caller 18 plays the contest now from Blue 128, WNAM. 1966 Rock and Gold with Neil Diamond. That's Cherry. 1031 with Stephen O'Brien going to play the Voice of the Rock contest. Coming up here from the music person. National sales, local sales, requests, all are taken into consideration for the weekly tabulation for the Blue 128 Music Survey. We don't just play the hits. We list them, too.
Hanging around Hollywood, all of us were independent musicians, folk singers, basically.
Okay, Greg, can you tell me the name of this hour's Voice of Rock?
John Denver.
John Denver is a very good guess, but I'm sorry it's not correct. You stand by for another chance to win. Okay, John? Greg, rather.
All right.
John Denver. Thanks a lot, Greg.
All right.
So long now.
The history, the music, and most importantly, the memories. We say goodbye to Northeast Wisconsin on New Year's Eve. Thank you for listening to 1280 WNAM.
So my name is Brian Siebers, and that was actually my on-air name at WNM as well. Very creative, I know. I was there doing live and local from 6 to 9, Monday through Friday. I brought a live morning show on the air after, I think, quite a while of automated things, and the Music of Your Life format was what we were following then. News with Carolyn Cook and Jonathan Krause. A lot of memories of playing Come Share the Wine, but just really good memories of being involved with the community, really educating myself in music that really formed what we know now as pop music. Highlights for me, I do have really good memories of meeting some pretty big names. I think my favorite interview was with Stephen Bishop. Davy Jones came into the studio. Molly Ringwald, Melissa Manchester, I believe. Wink Martindale, my very first show. And he sent me a signed copy of his book, which I still have to this day. It really reminded me of the great community that we have here in the Fox Valley. Being out of radio for, 18 years. Still think back on those times fondly and how much I was involved. It was really a great opportunity for me and one that I'll treasure. And WNAM is a really big part of the community that will be missed. And I'm glad I could be a part of it for a short time, and that there was a Brian Siebers chapter at WNAM. And I'll miss it. Thank you again.
The greatest hits of all time. WNAM.
love me just for fun. You got to love me for a reason. Jeff Law is next here at Blue 128 with more chances to win in Blue 128's Voices of Rock contest.
News is our business, but it can be yours, too. If you see events of importance, you can win $5 by letting WNAM know. If you're in the Green Bay to Pier area and something happens, call us at 336-1345. If you're in Oshkosh, call 231-1345. Or if you're in Neenah-Menasha or Appleton, call our business line at 722-6471.
WNAM 2020 News.
This is Stephen O'Brien. The U.S. Geological Survey of the Department of Interior has announced the unexpected find of a trace of copper bearing minerals west of butternut. The mineral is called chalcopyrite. And Interim Attorney General Victor Miller said today that he will recommend the State Justice Department curb its emphasis on crime and criminal activities. Miller thinks the department should return to its original role as the state's chief legal agency. And now with the latest news from ABC, here's Merrill Muller in Los Angeles.
Movements have started in New York and Canada. This is Information Radio News. A service of ABC News. Weather. Clear and not so cold tonight. Sunny, warmer tomorrow. Lows tonight 32, high tomorrow 64. Chance of fair weather is 80% tonight and tomorrow. Currently 41 degrees.
Blue 128 Newsy News.
George Carlin's October 14th packed house at Carnegie Hall in New York showed why he is one of the comedy world's most successful and consistent performers. Carlin is probably the finest technical comedian working today, and he has all the skills a good comic needs to be funny. Every dialect imaginable, excellent physical skills, and the ability to use the microphone to get subtle sounds that add to his funny lines. His humor is derived not from what he says, but from the way he says it. His show does not consist of routines or jokes, but a series of observations about life. This is Jeff Law, WNAM Music News. Jeff Law. Mary Chapin, Cats in the Cradle. It's 10:48 with Jeff Law and the Raspberries. I want to be with you. Even if you have 14, because I'm only 13 and a half. 1972 gold at Blue 128, WNAM.
WNAM, Neenah-Menasha.
Raspberries and I want to be with you. Oh, in just a couple of seconds, Jimmy Buffett at Blue 128.
You think you get around? You ought to see WNAM Mobile News.
When it comes to winners, no one has more than Blue 128, WNAM. And we make it fun to win. Whether you live in Oshkosh, Neenah-Menasha, Appleton, Kaukauna, Green Bay, De Pere, or anywhere. Because you can hear us everywhere. And you're never more than just a few moments away from another chance to win. Keep listening.
WNAM, hit bound.
Home of the Big Al Mystery Theater, Friday nights at midnight.
WNAM.
Robert Winton's on the phone at 1024 Iowa Street in Oshkosh. And Robert, up this hour on Superstar Sweepstakes, the new Procol Harum LP, Old and Heavy Gold, or a 5-pack of proven hit LPs. Carly Simon, Jim Croce, Eagles and the Spinners. What's it going to be?
Could you repeat that, please?
Okay, Robert. Carly Simon, Jim Croce, Eagles and the Spinners.
The first one.
The first one. That's Carly Simon then, huh?
Right.
Okay. Superstar, the Eagles.
Blue 128 serves up memories to spare. 78 great radio years we all can share. Thank you for tuning again to 1280 WNAM.
end of the year, and we seem to have run out of commercials. Make a resolution to listen a little longer to America's best music, 1280 WNAM.
Looking for something a little more mature in a radio station, but not quite ready to join the polka sets? Listen to this.
Settle for WNAM News.
Americans, this is Paul Harvey.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tom Snyder coming at you
They
live.
want to confess.
Well, it certainly is the age of let's get rid of it.
Radio for adults, WNAM, AM 1280.
WNAM's Dan Marcus. He's tall, dark, and handsome, which counts for nothing on the radio, but he's also friendly, funny, and down-to-earth, which does count for something. And with music from the 50s through the 90s, he's enjoying the tunes as much as you. Jonathan Krause is Valley News. Bob Burnell handles sports, and Storm Team 5 handles the local weather. From his studio overlooking I-41, veteran broadcaster Dan Marcus starts the Valley's weekdays the right way. Dan Marcus, only on 1280 WNAM.
Thank you for sharing 78 years together with America's best music as we say farewell on New Year's Eve. 1280 WNAM.
The greatest hits of all time, WNAM.
With Mr. Thomas Howard, would it be all right if I call you Hot Buttered?
I respond to almost anything.
Now, I worked with you for a short time at WNAM, Mike O'Brien. And remember, we had Clark, Nevada.
Yep.
Jason Page, were you working there with Jason?
Oh, yes.
Jack Randall. Oh, Ron
Ross.
Captain Ron.
And
he always pulled the curtains. He didn't want anybody watching him when he was doing the show.
I don't understand why. He had a nice voice. He was a nice-looking guy.
If you'd come in and you'd be looking at him when he had to do a break or whatever, he'd turn red.
Didn't like that.
There was a midday talk show with Bill Day, remember?
I do remember that.
I liked Bill's talk show, and he was on KAU before that, and then he brought the talk show over to WNAM.
The news guys were always cool. The news guys generally had nice voices.
Talk about good voice. Jack Randall, remember? Afternoon guy and music director. Jack Randall. Big voice.
I remember the name. I don't remember the voice normally.
He was the guy who was on the air before you.
Really?
Sorry. Jack Randall. Jack came from like Wausau, Stevens Point. You probably blocked it out of your mind just due to pure envy.
Guilty.
And so when you were working at WNAM, you did this shtick. You kind of actually pushed your voice upward, trying to sound younger and teenage-like.
Yeah, I did.
So give me an example now of what that sounded like.
Well, I was just talking a lot louder. If I ever really dig for it, I could probably find it somewhere.
That's good, Tommy. That's good.
Holy moly. I really like to work the routine that they started taking a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we were a music station.
Right.
I thought the bits were good enough that people would be interested in listening to them, that they wouldn't miss a record not spinning every 3 minutes. It was probably, from an imaginative standpoint, the best point in my career. Hot Buttered Howard saying, thanks for stopping by. I got to believe you got lots of better things to do with your time. So I really appreciate you wasting it here with me.
The history, the music, and most importantly, the memories. We say goodbye to Northeast Wisconsin on New Year's Eve. Thank you for listening to 1280 WNAM.
Weekends are dynamite with Joel St. John on WNAM.
Joel St. John. WNAM. WNAM. Neenah-Menasha.
Top of the morning to you. Ron Ross at 11 o'clock on Blue 128 with Wolfman Jack in a brand new time slot, 6 till 9 p.m. Saturday nights. Be listening for the Wolfman.
Frosty the Snowman was a jolly old soul. With a button nose and a pocket radio, he listened to WNAM.
Don Geronimo.
WNAM. I am Don Geronimo on the radio. Less than 1 hour from now, Susie Barber will be here. Every other record is solid gold all night long on her show on a 24-hour music run at WNAM.
Afternoon Delight.
Starland Vocal Band at WNAM. We're old Don Geronimo here at 6 minutes before 10 o'clock. You could win yourself a 6-pack of 45s this hour on Summer Score. Hang on to the touch tone and your chance to get your fingers moving.
America's best music.
WNAM.
Hey, it's Steve Edwards, current program director of WNAM. I am happy to have been the custodian of this great radio station since 2021. But I have been behind the scenes with this station since the fall of 1998. One of the most well-known radio voices from the history of WNAM and from Northeast Wisconsin. And I can say that because even though you've been away for what seems like forever, your voice is unmistakable. Ron Ross joining us today to talk about WNAM. Ron, thank you so much for spending time.
Well, Steve, it's been nice being with you.
I kind of set this up like a WOSH interview, but I'm afraid it's going to turn into an Aircheck session. For a time, WNAM, believe it or not, as an AM radio station in the late 1970s, it reached a 17 share from Arbitron. But that's radio speak. That station was number one. And that is just incredible to think back on it, but it was a completely different time.
Well, it was, but it took a lot of hard work, and it took the new format that we put on the air called Blue 128. People to this day still say, hey, I remember that station. It was Blue 128, but I never had any idea why you called it that, other than the 128 had to do with the 1280 on the dial. That was a careful, controlled balance of tempo rotation of the music. We also labeled each song by its emotional content, a careful balance in the music we presented of male vocals, female vocals, group vocals, instrumentals, and so forth, and also a careful rotation of various top 40 music categories, rock music, soft rock, pop, adult. It was a fairly complicated thing. It gave us a format that presented music in a way that people just enjoyed. They had no idea that all of this thought was going into the selection of the songs we played.
Speaking with Ron Ross, a radio personality from Northeast Wisconsin, great well-known voice.
And we also, I want to mention that we had a great engineer. His name was Gordon Daly, and he kept that old AM transmitter going and kept all that equipment work for us because, you know, the equipment we had in those days had a tendency to break down quite a bit, and when you're live and going at it 24 hours a day, it gets a lot of use.
The history, the music, and most importantly, the memories. We say goodbye to Northeast Wisconsin on New Year's Eve. Thank you for listening to 1280 WNAM.
WNAM and a classic from Roy Orbison, Only the Lonely. Headline requested 1027 on the Ron Ross Show, and it's the first of a series of Superstar Weekends. The Styx Weekend, beginning this Saturday morning, we're going to be playing all your favorites by Styx, and then Sunday night at 6 o'clock, the brand new Styx Radio Special. WNAM, music and passion, always in fashion. On the Ron Ross Morning Show, it's about 10:31. Lots of things going on today. Major League Baseball, of course, is going to hold its annual winter draft of free agents. That's going on today. It is Richard Nixon's birthday, and in just a few short minutes, we'll be reading a few chapters from his new book, The Complete Book of Running, for office and or from the laws. All coming up here this morning. Your valley weather today, mostly sunny with a high of about 13 above. Tonight, fair and very cold, all the way down to 15 below. And tomorrow, increasingly cloudy with a chance of snow towards evening and a high of about 5 above. It's 4 above now at Blue 128.
WNAM. I am music and I write the songs. Baby, you're no good. That's right. Afternoon delight. Oh, what a night. WNAM.
All right, now, everybody, gather around the radio now for the Wolfman's going to share some inflation-busting tips with you. Number 1, only drive downhill. And a rutabaga is not a cloud in Wisconsin.
Wolfman!
WNAM. Just got a request from Neenah, home of the #1 basketball team in the state. Let it roll. Just munching on one of the hungry submarine sandwiches, man.
Blue 128, WNAM.
you can play the Blue Music Contest. We're going to be giving away all your favorite albums, and a brand new Magnavox Color TV is grand prize. Complete details in minutes on Blue 128.
Smiling faces till
WNAM and Richard Nixon's birthday song. Smiling faces sometimes don't tell the truth. It's 10:39 with Ron Ross. WNAM, the home of the music people, Eric Clapton and Promises. Boy, it's already 10:42. Time really flies when you're sedated. Yeah. Hey, listen, this next hour. Hey, shut up, you guys. This next hour on my show, you're going to be hearing the music of Chic with La Freak, YMCA, Nicolette Larson's A Lot of Love, and a whole lot more on Blue 128.
Blue 128, WNAM.
Without the dancing, making new plans then.
Go breaking my heart. I couldn't if I tried.
'Cause I'm easy. Look at me, I'm the disco love.
This is Jason Page, and I want to thank you for getting us all together here from the 70s and 80s to remember Blue 128. And I tell you, if it wasn't for our bosses back then, their guidance, Ron Ross, Charlie Bennett, they looked at us and thought, these guys would benefit from the snowmobile repair in Galveston, Texas. And that's what we did. We thought it was a great idea. Well, I look out the window right now, and there's Phil Snyder, Damon Ryan, Glenn, put that down, Glenn Brill. Oh, who is that? Oh, Arnie Wheeler, yeah. And, well, John Murphy, he took the more lucrative franchise, the jet ski repair in the Mojave. And then you're saying, well, what about Roger Fisher, who took care of all of our sports? Well, Roger, he's a big college football fan. Now, you know this is his time of year right now. So if you look real careful on the sidelines during these college games, you might see him moving those chains, because that's what he ended up doing. Freelance chain mover. He travels all around the country, different big games, and you'll see him there moving the chains every 10 yards or so. That's what he does now. As far as Dave Hoopman, always wanted to do his travel business. We talked about it on the air all the time, where, he'd say you just jump up in the air, let the earth rotate beneath you. Pretty soon you're wherever you want to go. So we're expecting Dave to be joining us any time now. And that's pretty much what we've been up to. We got this Arctic cat here we took apart, I don't know, maybe 35 years ago, and we've almost got it back together. We don't have any manuals, Steve. If we had manuals, well, I tell you what you could do. Ask your Blue 128 listeners there if anybody's got a drive belt for an 81 Arctic Cat. That would be a big help to us. Yeah, hold on just a second. Yeah, I'm pretty sure right is tight. Right, tight. Yeah, I got to go. Thanks again.
WNAM. Run!
WNAM with a whole lot of booty shaking going on. That's La Freak with Chic on the Ron Ross Show at 10:47 from the station that pays cash for your news tips. WNAM and a good song. It's Eric Carmen, Never Gonna Fall in Love Again. The Appleton Social Society is sponsoring a ski trip to Gastric Distress, Michigan. No, that's Gastra, Michigan. A reminder from the music people.
Gonna take a lot of love. It's gonna take a lot of love. The music people. WNAM. Neenah-Menasha.
Hi-ho, tinfoil, good morning. This is Ron Ross. It's 10 o'clock at Blue 128. Giving away over $1,000 in prizes on the Blue Music Contest beginning next Monday, including a Magnavox Color TV. Keep listening.
So this is Skip Willis signing off right now for the last time on 1280 WNAM.
And now, more music with R.J. Gibson.
Blue 128 WNAM.
Why don't you stay?
My family, I'm afraid, could not afford. We
just couldn't afford a whole turkey this year. But I did manage to scrape together enough cash to get my supermarket's budget turkey. Have you seen that? For $1.98, we got 2 wings, half a dozen feathers, and a beak.
Do you really expect us to believe that?
Well, of course, we radio personalities may have fame and recognition and lustful women after us at all times, but we don't necessarily make a lot of money. Valley weather today.
What do you say?
In a nutshell, I started in 1969, so I guess that means I've been a part of the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. I've met a lot of famous performers over the years and got to MC a lot of concerts and things like that, and also got to work with a lot of, big air personalities from other markets, and it's been a lot of fun.
Ron Ross, WNAM.
Hi, this is Tommy Hot Buttered Howard. Hey, WNAM. Thanks for 78 spectacular years of broadcasting and sharing a couple of them with me. It was a great time. I had a wonderful time. The crew had a wonderful time. And I'm still having a wonderful time.
We got tonight, babe. Why don't you stay?
As far as the lady, my sweet lady. Big Al Kelly, exactly 4:58. That's going to do it for me. Steve McFarland is waiting anxiously to get on the air. I'll return at midnight tonight. Bye.
Baby, I love you way by Pierce Frampton. Oh, baby, I love your way. Yeah. Jay Purcell. Where you from, Jay? Kimberly. School do you go to? Mount Calvary. Mount Calvary, over there in Kimberly. Big listeners at WNAM, I know that for a fact, right? What's your favorite radio station, Jay? WNAM.
I'm Jay Heather. A question this hour. What famous song was the flip side of Elvis's Hound Dog?
Yeah, I believe it. Don't Be Cruel.
That's right. Who's this?
Darren Christie.
Darren?
Yeah.
Where are you from, Darren?
Kimberly.
Okay, Darren, what you've won is a Jimmy Burger and a soft drink from Jim's Drive-In in Neenah.
Oh, sounds great. I've never won anything before in my entire life.
Well, hey.
We've got tonight.
You listen to the right radio station and the right jock, you win everything, right?
Yeah.
What's your favorite radio station?
WNAM.
128, the home of the hits.
We wish you the best in the new year, and thank you for listening to 1280 WNAM and making our 78 years the greatest.
WNAM, Neenah-Menasha.